So this is the SPINS Housing and Employment Tracking System. I'm going to be logging in as a test person called Evaluation 10. The password is training, TRAINING, all one word, all lowercase. So I'm going to log in and I will see all of the permissions that an evaluation staff member would see. So I see this Add New Screening Form button, and I see information about early withdrawal forms, which interventionists won't see. Interventionists will see everything on this screen except for the Add New Screening Form. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to add a new screening form. After you log in, you'll be on this home page. You can always return to this page by clicking on the Home button in the left navigation bar. If you click on Add New Screening Form, you'll find a new screening form. The screening date automatically pre-populates with today's date, the date that you open the form. You can change this, of course, and it would be important to remember to do so if you're entering a screening form that you'd previously collected. Go ahead and respond to all of these questions. Sometimes when you respond to a question, additional questions will open up, and each one of these is required. So we ask you to fill out a no or a yes for each one of these. Sometimes you'll see clicking on one of the answer options will bring up additional options that have square boxes. In this case, these are choose all that apply, so you can select multiple ones of these. If you see a round circle, that means choose only one. If you enter an ineligible subject, the system will let you know. If you click Save and Continue, it will tell you that the client's not eligible, and you just click Exit to exit out of that. If you add an eligible person, then you will see that we ask if the person has consented or not. Sometimes you may want to enter a screening form before you know whether the client has consented to the evaluation part of the study. In that case, you can save and continue, make a note of this ID, which is the screening form ID, so that you can come back and enter the consent form part after. If you know the consent information, you can go ahead and enter it now. I'm going to pretend that I don't know the consent information yet. I'll remember that this is screening form 128, and I'll click on Skip Consent for now. That has saved the screening form that I just entered, but it's a partial form. So if I go over to the left navigation bar and I click on Screening Eligibility List, this will show me all the screening forms that were entered at my site. And I'm going to scroll down and look for 128. Not sure why these are sorting strangely, but I can search for it this way. I hit Control F for find, and then I type in the number that I'm looking for. So you can see here, the status of this form is eligible, consent pending. So as you'll recall, this was an eligible screening form. The person is eligible to participate, but I didn't know the consent information yet, so that's why it says consent pending. If I click on View Screening Form then, all of this screening information is saved and not editable. Once you've entered the screening form, that part can't be changed, but I can enter the consent information. If I say no, the person did not consent, then I need to give some reasons as to why they did not consent or were determined to be not a good candidate for enrolling in the evaluation study. If I say yes, then I need to enter the date that the consent form was signed. I'm going to enter today's date, 9/14/2018, and click on Save. Throughout the system, you'll see these blue Save buttons, and you need to remember to click on the Save button to make sure that all of the information that you've entered has been saved. So now that I've saved this consented screening form, you'll see that a new participant ID has been created. This ID is 67, and 67 is the way that we'll be referring to this participant from here on. So when we enter evaluation information from the visit questionnaire in REDCap, that will use this ID 67. If you have questions about which ID to use, please let me know. You can always shoot me an email or call me up and we can sort it out. But the participant ID shown here is the one that we generally will use. So you can find that here as soon as you've entered a valid screening form where the person's consented. You can go straight on to entering participant information for them, or you can come back later and deal with it later. If you click on participant information form, you'll see there are a number of fields here. Most of these are optional. So if you don't want to use first name, last name, that's all fine. The date that we really need here is the enrollment date. That is what we use to populate all of the scheduling windows for the visits. So if I want to navigate back to this person's forms list, I don't have to go all the way out to home again. I can just click on the forms list link in the header in the red header bar.